Welcome back to the weekly rewind. I'm Kira. If you haven't watched before, I sit here and I yammer a little bit about what I've been playing, maybe what the guys have been playing as well, if I've heard from them on any games as of recent and get any pictures and all that. Though we've been doing weekly chit chats live, so we've been covering that stuff a little bit more often than we usually do. So, happy Mother's Day to all of the moms watching. I hope you had an awesome day and hopefully got in some games with the family. It looks like we've got Gator Dave and Carol and Andrew and Themer, the Mr. E. And I always want to say Themer when I see his name on there. Uh, James, Billy, Hilmar, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in this Sunday evening. Hope you're all having a great weekend. So, I have talked on this program and on Chit Chat about a couple of different games as of late that Forgotten Waters. We'll just start there because that's the title of the episode and everything. So, Forgotten Waters, played it, personally didn't fall in love with it, didn't feel like the need to go back to it, but I feel like I didn't give it a full chance because we had a little issue in the game. So I have reacquired it, the actual physical copy, so I don't have to do the Skype version, so that I can actually play it and see if I have a different opinion if I play a little bit further. So overall, my opinions of this game were very simple. I was fine with it. It's a fine game that's more of an activity to me, and it's got nice art, and it's got a really nice narrative, and it's got an app that goes with it. But we got caught in some infinite loopy type thing and managed to break it eventually and get the heck out of Dodge, if you will. Don't want to say too much because it can be kind of spoilery. But generally speaking, I did not think this was a game that I would go back to, but I've decided to give it another fair shot. So I'm going to spend some time playing a few more of the scenarios, see what I think. Curious if anybody else has played it in the comments. Now, James asks if would play this with my husband. I don't know, maybe if he's interested. He didn't really get into Near and Far, Above and Below for very long, got bored with it. And so I don't know that this will do enough to keep his attention either. The narrative is much better because it's more of a narrative versus just a choose your own situation thing like the Near and Far were. So I don't know. I know it's not the same game. I'm just saying it has that vibe to it, and I'm thinking about what keeps his interest. So I don't know. I was thinking about soloing it just so that I could check it out and not have to. I could manage, all the decisions without any distractions. So um, I do think Carol makes a good point in the comments that this would be a good family one, and I did say that when we talked about it previously. Is that I think for sure this is a good one you can get out with the family, and you guys can cooperatively play with any age because if you got little ones, you can just tell them what the things say, and you can make the choices together. And I think it's really nice to have a game like that. I think my problem was one, it was just like a lot of hype, which I don't normally get super on the hype train, but I was going in with a little bit too much expectation, maybe, especially with the fancy app. I don't know. I think that I probably just didn't give it a full fair shot because I got annoyed during the gameplay. So I think going back to it will help. And obviously, playing it in person versus over Skype should help, and all those kinds of things as well. So, Loopy's played the first three scenarios. How does it compare to Comanauts? I did not like Comanauts at all. Oof, no. So I would say it's definitely better. Uh, so I've played Comanauts, I've played Aftermath, and I've played now Forgotten Waters of these type of games. I did not play Stuffed Fables, so I don't have any experience with that. But Comandos did nothing for me. Like it was just kind of like felt very boring and redundant and bouncing around the way you did. But again, if it's a family activity and you're looking at it more like that than a strategic game, which how much strategy there's a little bit of strategy as you go. Like Aftermath was interesting. You had to think about some decisions. I did not like Aftermath, but I liked what it was doing. Like I had an appreciation for what they were building there and could see it being fun for the right group. And Forgotten Waters is in that bucket as well. I could see it being fun in the right situation with the right group of people. For me, it was not, it didn't get me to start. So, yes, the voice acting in the app is quite incredible. That's a good point. The narrative piece of Forgotten Waters is quite good. And the app is just like a web based like website. You type in a number and it takes you to wherever you're supposed to go. Um, let's see. Yeah, it sounds like I think it's one of those things. It can feel a little repetitive, especially if you're not having success. So the thing is, I would say is that in those situations, and what we eventually did was instead of going towards the obvious path, there was obviously a red herring maybe or an opportunity that we didn't take. And so kind of breaking out of the cycle fixed, the kind of redundancy that we were feeling of not really making any progress. So anyway, I can keep go on and on about that. So uh Karen's here in the comments. Hi Karen. And she said that her Wingspan expansion came today. I actually wanted to talk about Wingspan, so that's a really great segue. Thank you, Karen. I'm going to bring up some pictures here. So I I'm done showing tabletop simulator screenshots, by the way. I'm just using real pictures of real games, even if I played it in tabletop simulator, which I did. I played this one in tabletop simulator and it was an okay experience. Like there was a much prettier version of it that I went into, but it didn't have all the stuff set up properly, or it didn't have the European expansion. I'm not sure which one. Oh no, I remember what it was. It was all in Spanish. I picked a Spanish one, of course. It was gorgeous, but I couldn't read any of it. So had to back out, and I had another mod for TTS that I had found that had the European expansion in it. So that's what I wanted to play with. And it was pretty good. The problem is that the the scripting in it that allowed you to stack things on top of things, whether that be the cards, like putting cards under cards or putting food tokens or eggs on top of cards, stacked right in the center. Otherwise, it was a mess. Like it didn't actually get on the card. It'd be like kind of toppling off the card. So unless you stacked it in the center, it didn't really hold its place, and it made moving things around later messy. But what was weird is that the eggs were stacking as if they were flat items. So you'd have like a resource, and then an egg, and then an egg, and another resource, and then an egg, all in this linear stack, just perfectly stacked up. I don't know, that bugged me a little bit because it just made the one, quickly being able to see what I have going on with my engine. And that just kind of brings me to my whole rant here, and that is that I am so done with Tabletop Simulator. Like I'm glad I have it. So like Ryan and I will be playing on Wednesday Tabletop Simulator. It'll be fine. I will continue to play on Tabletop Simulator until it makes sense to be playing with people in person again. Yes, I am not trying to force anything. I am just saying I miss the experience, the tactile experience of playing a board game with my friends in person. I know I'm not the only person out there, but it's those little things in these. I mean, and I'm so appreciative that somebody built this mod. Like the fact that we can play Wingspan in Tabletop Simulator is fantastic. And I'm sitting here nitpicking at something that is actually just very nice that somebody did and took the time to do it. It's not like I paid to get into that. I paid for Tabletop Simulator, but those mods are in there, and I thank everyone who does that and the publishers that allow those mods to exist so that we can play them. It's a lot of fun to be able to still play. I just absolutely am so tired of clicking a mouse to play a game. That's all. That's all. I'll get off my soapbox. um, so I'm not playing on Board Game Arena. I should check out Board Game Arena. I have not experienced that one yet. And there are great experiences, and even that Wingspan experience, while that little tiny thing was a buggy thing for me, it was actually an overall very good experience to be able to play Wingspan. Like we played Coimbra on Tabletop Simulator. Jeremy and I did sometime last week, and it was it was weird. So like one of the things that made me go is like, ooh, I wish Coimbra had metal castles because every time you would put your die in the castle, it was like the die in the castles were metal because they'd clink, and I love that sound. But it was a pain in the butt to do everything in it and to put the die in the castle. And then if you didn't put it right in there perfectly, it'd like topple and you have to reset your die. It's a whole thing. And if you don't have your uh, table exactly tilted properly, then you don't see the shadow and you lay your card down and not a great spot. And if you're like very particular and like all your stuff lined up like me, the stuff gets annoying after a while. So again, I sat there, I went right back up on my soapbox about digital gaming. Again, I'm so happy to have it because all these games I'm going to be talking about are digital versions of the games. And so well, mostly. So I've played a lot of Seven Wonders Duel. Hmm. Oh, Karen says she hasn't played Coimbra yet. So Coimbra is a great game. I really like it. Um, Although I don't know, it's one of those games I really like that I just have not gotten to play enough of. And so getting it to the digital table was a really nice thing to do because it's been like a year since I played it. And it's one of those you just need to be with the right group of people to play it in the first place. They have to like those games, and I have my friend groups are all varied on the types of games they like. And so the last time I played it, I think was at Ryan's, and then with Jeremy on Tabletop Simulator. So uh, yeah, I don't know, the experience of Simulator made it frustrating slightly at times, but overall it was because it also wasn't scripted, which again, I'm just so happy it existed that we could play it, but it wasn't like we could hit a button and all the cards came out that needed to come out and all the tokens went where they need to go. So that made it fiddly, but I do like Coimbra and I like what it does. I really enjoy the way the dice color and then the dice pips and the different things that happen with that, and how your placement works against all your different goals on the board. It's got a little bit of a race element on certain things because you want to be uh, further ahead in certain areas in order to gain more because they're cards that give you points for how far ahead you are of other people. So not race is the wrong term, but just wanting to get further ahead for in game scoring. But I don't know, I guess a little bit. Um, Oh, Andrew thinks Coimbra's boring, but Andrew is boring, so that's okay. So what I have been playing a lot of, and since Andrew's in the comments, I'm sure he'll enjoy trolling me a little bit right now, which is Seven Wonders Duel Pantheon. So I played both Seven Wonders Duel and Seven Wonders Duel Pantheon on Tabletop Simulator. Fantastic mod, by the way. It pops up, it says you want to play Classic or do you want to play Pantheon, and whichever one you click, then it does all the rest of the stuff. It pulls up all the things you need, puts them all in the proper places. There's a little deal starting coins button. There's a deal wonders button. There's the I can't remember what they're called now, the green circle tokens that go up at the top above the military track. All these things deal out for you, and then there's a couple little weird things that can happen because it's a computer program, but overall it's a really wonderful mod, and I cannot win this game. I've played Jeremy. I was playing Jeremy in that game almost like 3 or 4 days in a row one week. Then I played Andrew, and then I played Ryan. I just need to play David, But my guess is that David will also beat me. I have not won a single game of Seven Wonders Duel. Not one. It's it's so frustrating. I have lost so many games lately, and maybe that's the other reason why I'm gonna blame Tabletop Simulator. No, there's just a lot to have to pay attention to and to track, and you can't see everything all in the same way you would if it was on a table. I don't know. It's just a different experience, but I won't blame that for losing. I'm just terrible at games, apparently, especially Seven Wonders Duel. Good God. Yes, thank you, Andrew. It wasn't even close. At least when I lost to Ryan last week, it was almost either, it could have been either one of us. I was just really hoping for the win. I needed it. Um, yes, so the question, yes, I have tried Tabletopia. We played Cartographers on Tabletopia. Really, really well done, by the way. Great experience for cartographers. I really like the way they did the roll and write thing. But as far as do I still enjoy Seven Wonders Duel, even on a hot, hot, hot losing streak? The answer is yes. I would play it. I will probably want to play it as soon as I get off of this stream tonight, if anyone wants to play. No, just kidding. But I really enjoy it, and because it's just fun to try the different paths to victory. That stuff works great for me. Um, let's see. I'm on a bad losing streak. I don't know what else to say. I'm not doing well at games lately. But you know what a game I hadn't gotten to the table in a while, surprisingly, and it was one of my top games of last year, uh, was Watergate. And so I was able to play that on Tabletop Simulator. Thank you again, whoever put that up there. It's very well done. I played this one of the nights that I lost Seven Wonders Duel to Jeremy. I also lost as Nixon to the reporter. And then I played it again another night with Andrew, and I lost as Nixon again. So history stayed intact at least. Like I said, I am losing like every game I play anymore. Oh, it's so funny. So Watergate though, gosh, I forgot how much I love it. And it's funny because I know I love it. It's one of my top games of last year. It's on my shelf. I tell people about it all the time and how great it is, but I hadn't played it in a while. And getting it back to the table just reaffirmed how much I loved it. I love I love that game. I love everything it does. I love how quick it is. I love playing as Nixon too. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy playing as Nixon more than anything else. So, oh gosh, Gator Dave, shush. So, like, how do I get my gaming groove back? I don't know. I'll tell you one way, most likely, is that I got a Tiny Epic game in the mail that I can't talk about. I, uh, they've got a Kickstarter coming up. They've been talking about new Tiny Epic on their Facebook page, so I'm not spoiling anything there. They've talked about there's something new coming. I can't talk about it yet. So I am very excited about that. There's always just something very exciting about another Tiny Epic game. Although I'm just eagerly awaiting to play any of my Tiny Epic games with people that want to play them with me because they're all far away from me right now. I should look and see if there's any Tiny Epics on TTS because at least I'd still be playing it right now, and they have good solos. For anybody that isn't familiar with the Tiny Epic series of games, I have, oh my gosh, am I really good? So I have my Gamelin Knight down here. He hangs out on my shelf. I'm a big Tiny Epic fan. I have the whole thingy. I have the whole thingy right here, all of the games. Technically, Kingdoms isn't in there because I have all of the Kingdom stuff in a separate box just because I had a lot. And then I had, my early love of Tiny Epic. I got all the miniatures and stuff, all the miniatures, all the special custom meeples or whatever. So it lives in a different spot. But I love my Tiny Epic games. And so I'm pretty pumped. that there's a new Tiny Epic coming to my table. Oh, so yes, that's how I'll get my gaming groove back. I can't wait. Um, let's see. Oh, I love the guesses for the next Tiny Epic. Oh, this will be fun. Tiny Epic Secret. Very good, Gator Dave. Very good. Let's see. We have Tiny Epic Gaming Conventions. That'd be fun. Um, an Egyptian dude on a map game. Hmm. Tiny Epic obelisks. Tiny Epic chefs. That would be fun. Tiny Epic mummies would also fall into the Egyptian. Tiny Epic roll and write. I would be curious to see that. Have I tried Golem? Golem from the Matchbox series? Yes, it's great. Tiny Epic Storage Solution and Tiny Epic Comedians comes with a teeny tiny Jerry Seinfeld. Oh my gosh, Jerry Seinfeld popped back up onto Netflix, didn't he? So I haven't watched it yet. I'm kind of one of those. I like him as a comedian, but occasionally, and I have to be in the right mood. All right, so yes, so I'm excited for a new Tiny Epic to be announced game. It'll be great. I am beyond excited. You, you never steer me wrong with the Tiny Epic. I think there's only one that I really don't ever think I'll get back to the table, and I've talked about that before. I should do so on Chit Chat this week. Two things came up. One was, well, one thing came up that spurred an idea for this is that there are two things I love a lot and I talk about a lot, but I haven't really done any like specific content on. And one of those is Dice Throne. We were talking about Dice Throne on our chit chat because we were visiting the guys' top 10 lists from 2018. That was before I was doing all that kind of stuff on a regular basis, so I didn't have a list. I'm sure I did, like hypothetically, but I don't think I wrote it down or anything. But that being said, we were visiting those lists, and Jeremy had Dice Run Season 2 pretty high on his list, and he actually said he would have bumped it up. I'll let you see from where to where. If you haven't watched the episode, don't want to spoil it. But that being said, I love Dice Throne, and I play it a lot, and I'm very lucky I get to do work with the Roxley and Dice Throne teams and get to see a lot of their cool stuff. And I've been playing Ryan and I played Dice Throne on TTS, which is and that's like an official mod from them that's really, really well done. For just regular old Dice Throne, you get to actually preview the Ninja, who is in the re-rolled pack coming out soon, and she's pretty sweet. And I've been playing her as in Dice Throne Adventures as well as I've been kind of just running through some campaigns and seeing the different experiences that it's going to provide and the new updated stuff, of course, which is really, really cool. So I should do something around about each of the heroes or something. Yes, I totally should. The other thing, though, I should definitely be doing something about is Tiny Epic. What are my top 5 anyone else a High Fidelity fan? Movie, original? I haven't watched TV show yet, but my top 5 favorite Tiny Epic games and why, maybe. But there are some I don't like. They're not my favorite. I'm not going to pretend like every single one lands with me. They all at least landed with me once, right? Tiny Epic Western is the one that I like the least. I played it several times. It was just never it was never my favorite. It was my husband seemed to like it, so we played it a whole bunch. And I was fine with that because I'm like, I like Tiny Epic. I'll just play it. But then he kind of table flipped on me, like when I started winning mid game. He swears that's not the reason why. But yeah, he kind of table flipped and we haven't ever played it again. And I haven't had a desire to get it out anyway. So of all the Tiny Epic games, it's probably my least favorite. But it'd be cool. Maybe, I don't know, what do you guys think? For me to talk more about like the different Dice Run heroes or the different Tiny Epics. I know I go on and on about them a lot, but that's something I could do. I did. So yeah, the Western one has really cool bullet dice and the whole process. Like I swear Nate from Gamelin should do a whole video, if he didn't already, on it, talking about how the dice are made, because he told me how the process went. It's different and there's a reason why they are really great dice and they roll well and everything, but they're little bullet dice. They're really cool. Um, Dice Throne is mainly a two-player game. Somebody's asking in the comments. So, Glenn, um, yes, it is mostly a two-player game, but there are different game modes for Dice Throne where you can do like a King of the Hill or a dueling where it's 2-on-2, things like that. There's different ways to play it. There's all kinds of different variations in the rule book. And then there's now Dice Throne Adventures, which is coming out later this year, that was on Kickstarter, and it's a dungeon crawl. So it's, kind of like Diablo or maybe Gloomhaven-ish. I haven't played Gloomhaven. But where you're trolling through, you're fighting minions. There's a boss battle. Those will be the Fallen. If you follow the campaign out, it's really great. Um, and the my experience, although again, I'm not like in love with doing things in tabletop simulator, I cannot wait to get it to my actual table. So I just started another campaign just because I'm just giving data. I'm here to give data. So I just running through another campaign with a friend, and it should be epic because we're gonna go up in difficulty, I think. So anyway, Tiny Epic Gloomhaven would be hilarious. So okay, moving on from my love of those games. So today was Mother's Day, and I got my mom um, just one. So she's a light gamer, but she likes to entertain and she likes to have people over. And I always like to get at least a little something for my family when I can get them some kind of game, something gamey just for fun when it makes sense. Like I'm not going to force games on anyone, but this is a game I know my mom would really like. We just played it on TTS. Actually, really good mod too. But yeah, we played it the other night, and then so I got it for her for Mother's Day, and I gave her like the brief overview because it's one of those that's going to be really easy. She's gonna read the rule book because it's like a page and a half, and they'll be fine and they'll have a blast with it. And I explained it to her, and she got really excited, and they'll have fun playing it in house because just the immediate family, small enough but big enough to play the game. And then when things get back to maybe a little bit more visitations and stuff with friends, it'll be something fun they can play. And then, not to mention, I can suggest that she does things like that over, a Zoom call or whatever. People have been doing that. It's been great. So, it's one of those just great, easy to the table games just to kill the time, party game, lots of fun. If you haven't checked out uh, Just One, definitely check it out. So, um, so let's see, what else have I been playing? So I know I talked about it a little bit last time, but I definitely want to at least bring a couple of different things up again. Obviously, because I just mentioned I spend some time working with Roxley and on their projects, and I have been very lucky to be a part of their Steampunk Rally Fusion project, which has been a blast to watch. I love learning about all these inventors that I didn't know about. So, you're an inventor from history, and you're building these fantastic contraptions, and you're racing them against other amazing inventors in history. And so you get to know, like in Steampunk Rally Fusions, there's just people I never heard of, and I love that I'm learning about them through this experience and through a gaming experience, and how that can move on too. And I happen to be a big fan of the whole Heidi Lamar uh, story. She's one of those that I found out about not that long ago, a couple of years maybe. And I was like, wow, I had no idea this actress, who I've always thought is just a really cool actress anyway, from her just quotes and things you see about her. But then you kind of over the years learned, wow, she was an inventor. She did all this cool stuff. So I love that aspect of the game, and that they bring that to light. And if you didn't know that about certain people, or you just didn't know those people existed in the first place, you kind of get to learn a little bit more about them, which is wonderful. And then they're doing a contest where, well, not a contest, but like a polling race, if you will, of which other inventors can be added, and people submitted their ideas, and so there's going to be more inventors added to the game and promo pack with Kickstarter, which is super cool. So I love that game. I was new to it. I hadn't played it before. Had to learn it on Tabletop Simulator, But I'm excited because I also have the original now, so I can play that while I wait for the new one to come out. It'll be fun. But the other game I want to make sure I bring up is Ella and Something Shiny, because I can't stop thinking about how just cute it is. It's such a cute game. It's such a sweet game. And so I I started the episode talking about Forgotten Waters, and here we are. We're on to Ellen Something Shiny, which is simply an activity at the end of the day. It's a storybook. It's a solo game at its heart, or it's something you're reading with your kids, like a little story that you're reading to your kids before bed, except it's a game. It's got a game element to it. You're making decisions about what you want to do. You're this little bunny and you're making decisions. Do I want to harvest this with my bare hands, or do I have tools? If I don't have tools, I have to do the one. And each of those decisions is going to either make that card disappear from your deck, making it not something that'll ever happen again, or it'll add back to your deck because you're always going to need to harvest, right? So just depending on how you do it, um, is what your rewards you get. It's just a very lovely, gorgeous, lovely game. It's so sweet, and I they gave us we saw it at Essen. They sent us a copy. I'm working on the preview for it, and I wish I had more of it. It's just so perfectly lovely. I don't know how else to say it. And I think the art really gets me, and I would love to be able to play this with the kids in my life. It's not terribly complicated. Uh, you're making some decisions, you're having to be thoughtful about those decisions. It still introduces elements of very light danger in the decisions you make, and things you can't control. So there's like a wolf that might pop up, and then you have to either pay him off to leave you alone with your food that you've collected, or increase the danger, and then that danger takes up spots in your inventory which you need to fulfill your goals in order to move on with the scenario. It's very, very sweet. It's a very sweet little game. And we had basically there's two chapters. So the introductory tutorial chapter, and then the first chapter of the forest. And it's just such a wonderful it's up here. Um, just such a wonderful little, sweet little game. And the cover is gorgeous. And I love that little bunny. And they had this big tree at the booth in Essen that's like the tree that you saw in some of the pictures there. And that's what caught my attention as we're walking the halls, and I just had to check it out. And they've got the little stuffed version of him from the cover with his little hat hanging around the booth. And I'm like, they better make sure those are in the Kickstarter because I want one. They're very adorable. It's called Ella, Eila, and Something Shiny. Ella and Something Shiny. So any big plans for the first big game I want to play when we get the all clear? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't actually know. There's so many games that have come. I can't even think about what we've not been able to play as a group. So I don't care what we play as long as we play something. All four of us together, David, Jeremy, Ryan, and I, at a table. I'm looking forward to playing games with the guys again. It's been far too long. I know Tabletop Simulator, but just having the normal interaction that we get to have as a group, I miss that. And then being able to talk about the games the way we talk about the games and all that. And then just the fun of being able to hang out and be in the studio together and goof around, whatever. I do miss that. But let's see. I don't know. I've been wanting to play Glenmore. Um, Glenmore 2 Chronicles. I'm looking forward to that. We've talked about playing Tainted Grail and haven't gotten that to the table yet. So that's another one I'd probably be pretty excited to play sooner than later. I'd really like to play more of Death May Die, Cthulhu Death May Die. That would be great. And hopefully some of my Kickstarters will start showing up here pretty quick. Like I did just get my Iron Clays, and that is one game. Let's talk about that. So I have never played Brass, so I just got that in as well. and I am really looking forward to playing that. But it's not my husband's kind of game at all. So I need like Jeremy or Ryan for sure, or maybe Andrew. I know likes a game like that most of the time, I'm pretty sure. But somebody's got to play this game with me very, very soon, as soon as we're allowed to in person. Because it's also just a beautiful table presence, and I really want my experience with that game to be on table. But yes, Tiny Epic. That's really like that's my immediate horizon right now. Is like there's a Tiny Epic game, there's a Tiny Epic game, there's a Tiny Epic game. Oh yeah, I also have been playing Sagrada because I've been learning about some upcoming Sagrada stuff, and that's all I'll say for right now. But it's gonna be really great, and Sagrada is just such a fun game, and the app just came out, and the app's really nice to play. Yeah, Sagrada. Whoo. So my favorite Tiny Epic is still to this day is Tiny Epic Galaxies. Hands down, it will probably change. I'm pretty sure with Dinos. Then there'll be Dinos is going to give it a run for its money. It's I can't wait to play the final version, but like for me, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs was so much fun. I love the worker placement and all that, and it was time for that new. It's just really well done. Scott's done a really great job designing it, the team helping him develop it, all the things that they do to make that into a game. I can't wait to play it. The only thing I haven't had a chance to fully play is the two player that is being printed. I played an earlier version of the two player and I liked it, but it wasn't for me as good as Galaxies, and so that was the only place it was competing. So I haven't played the final rules version of Dinos with two player. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be great. So, how much does the tiny part of it add to my love? A decent amount. So, if you watch the program, I've talked about that I decided to have a little game library outside of my house, kind of inspired by Jeremy donating games to people in the neighborhood to play. And he did it in a very like, hey, what kind of games might you want? And they did a very private message back and forth. And I was like, I don't have time for that, frankly. So I just put a call out to the world and said, here's my address. Here's pictures of the games on my porch. And one of the games I put in there reluctantly, because I know not all these are going to come back, because I even said, if you like them, because I'm very lucky. I like, if you've watched any of the stuff we do, we love giving stuff away. Uh, there's always, there are things that don't hit my table as much. I want to pass on the joy to somebody else. So when I put the games out there, I said to myself, it's okay if they don't make it back. And I even said that if you end up loving this game, I'd like for you to keep it. If you don't, bring it back. Or if you find it's not hitting the table, or donate to somebody else, just pass on the love, right? One of the games I stuck in there was my Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies, which I just got. But I don't need the Ultra Tiny one. And really, I got that for just the sheer fun of it being an ultra tiny. I love that. I got the Kingdoms one too. And I did give that one away as well. And that was kind of it. Like, here's a little look, it's very non-committal, this tiny little card deck box of a game. Try it out. And if you like it, then go get the big one. Or, keep the small one, whatever. So I stuck that out there. And I think people think it's a deck of cards because it hasn't been picked up yet. So actually, you need to like, hey, you don't realize there's like this huge game in this tiny little box. It's so great. So yeah, Galaxies is still my favorite. So and tiny, the tiny part is wonderful. I love that. But they are great games. Scott's a great game designer. He's one of my favorite game designers. I enjoy almost everything that he's made that I've played. Claim is great. The Warp's Edge solo game that's coming out from Renegade, super fun. So anyway, have we played any more Tekhenu? No, although I want to, and so we need to, and I actually need to circle back with them to see if they want to play it soon because they are they are right there on the shelf. My iron clays, yes, they are within reach. I'm sorry. I didn't even see that, you guys. All right, yes. So I have a former set. So this is just new stuff because that's all I got in my set here. So let's see. I got the 50s and the, what is that, 500 and the 2000s. If I can open the box. Oh my gosh, I just don't want to make a mess and make a bunch of noise. And I can just hear myself doing exactly that. All right, we'll just do it backwards, that's fine. So they are very heavy and they're super cool. I don't know. Ooh, there we go. You can kind of see there's the 50s and the 500s. I love the green. I really love the black ones, but these purple are killer. The 2Ks are splendid. Absolutely lovely. What else would you expect from Roxley, though, right? Am I right? So, anyway, so I just can't, everything you get from them is just really nicely done. I'm not even opening the cards yet because they're just so nice. I don't want to mess them up until I actually have a reason to open them and keep them nice and proper. And my husband has the other one in his gaming space because the box is awesome. That's pretty much it. So we'll put R2 back there. So, generic metal coins replacement. I got them to be, yeah, that's, I mean, that is why they are so popular. I know they have to do with brass, but I've never played brass. I just, like, my husband was like, oh, I was like, we got to play with the clays. And he's like, yeah, we got to play some poker games. I'm like, no, we have tons of games for that purpose. One of those, well, both of those being the brass and the 2 brass boxes that I just got. So we can, but he's not going to play that with me. So I digress. So play with the clays. So that's about it, I think, for this week. Ryan and I haven't decided on our game for Wednesday yet, so feel free to chime in. Our regulations are lifting. We decided we're going to do one more week of social distance streaming for our Wednesday stream before we get back in the studio, but we will be back to playing tabletop games unless something changes with the regulations here very soon for Wednesdays. Obviously, we have a really big table there and we can maintain a little bit of distance anyway. And we'll be playing just the 2 of us. So to keep it under the minimums and everything. I think they set up to 25 in Indiana, but that seems like unnecessary, obviously, for a 2-player game, which is what we generally do on Wednesday. So anywho, what else is going on out there in the world? What do you guys want to hear about? On Chit Chat on Thursday, we talked about different programming and things like that. So I'd love to hear if you guys like this format. I've been doing it a little less frequently because of Chit Chat, because it overlaps just a little bit. And so I've been thinking about what I might be able to do differently with this format going forward to if just because I don't know that Chit Chat Live will continue forever. It's partially because we're all stuck at home, and so we had that opportunity. But I do really like the frequency we've been doing with Chit Chat by doing it live. So we'll see. I'm not sure, but if it maintains and we continue to do it really frequently, we always talk about what games we're playing. So feels like that might overlap with this program a little bit too much. So I don't know, rants and raves or something like that. We'll do that on Sundays. Let's see, what are the comments saying? Oh, it sounds like we're just talking about how to throw heavy objects at people. Guys, be nice. It's crazy out there. Use your game pieces for good. All right. Uh, we need at least 2 chit chats a month, says John. I definitely agree. I'm enjoying exploring some of the different like ideas, like the mailbag idea, and then we did the, you know, the player versus player style questions that David put together. So I think we'll see some more fun stuff like that. Maybe get some guests, media guests on to join us for episodes and all that fun stuff. I like the live format because it opens it up more. Like we were able to have Jeremy Howard on, and hopefully we'll be able to have Kevin on soon. But, because they're not here in Indiana with us, so getting them on set is a little bit more on the difficult side. So it's just nice to have the different things. So with that, I'm gonna call it, y'all, and say that the weekly rewind is wrapping up for the night. Now, I did want to close with one last thing, and that is that the Mage Wars winner. So if you guys saw when this whole thing started, I did a quarantine giveaway for Mage Wars. Both of those got shipped off. So I had a friend who had a copy as well. So we had a runner-up winner win. So congratulations, those winners, to your friends that you nominated. I hope they're enjoying their copies of Mage Wars. My next quarantine culling giveaway stream will be coming up soon, and it is going to be legendary encounters. And I'll talk about why I loved that game. Why it was one of the first games I got when I got the hobby. I'll talk about that, and but also why I'm giving it away. And we'll see if it's a good match for somebody, and we'll find another home for it with your help. So stay tuned to our feed. Hit that bell so you see when we make posts or schedule streams so that you can tune in for these fun things. And we'll see you guys next time. Let's see if I can make these fancy new transitions David made for us work well. It's got a whoosh. I like the whoosh. Later.